10 interesting facts about the Oscars. 1. Posthumous Oscars. Only 2 actors have ever won an Oscar posthumously, Heath Ledger in 2009, and Peter Finch in 1976. Finch died on January 14 of a heart attack, and his Best Actor Oscar for the Film Network was accepted by his wife, Aletha. Heath Ledger died on January 22, 2008, from complications of mixing prescription drugs. His Best Supporting Actor Oscar, for his portrayal of the Joker in The Dark Knight, was accepted by his parents and sister. Both men, coincidentally, were Australian. 2. Walt Disney. Walt Disney is credited with winning the most Oscars in history, but he has more records than that. As well as most wins, Disney also holds the records for the most nominations of any person, as well as most losses. In total, he won 22 competitive Oscars and 3 honorary ones, out of a total of 59 nominations. He was nominated for at least 1 Oscar every year between 1942 and 1963. 3. Biggest Losers. The biggest loser in Oscar history is Kevin O'Connell, a sound re-recording engineer. Despite 20 nominations since his work on 1983's Terms of Endearment, O'Connell has yet to win a single statue. O'Connell's last nomination came in 2007 for his work on Transformers. 4. John Cazale has good taste. Most people won't know who John Cazale is, and with good reason. Has only been in 5 films. But all of them have been nominated for Best Picture. Cazale only acted in The Godfather Parts 1 and 2, Dog Day Afternoon, The Conversation and The Deer Hunter. The first 3 actually won Best Picture, and The Conversation only lost because it went up against The Godfather Part 2. Not many people can say that every film they've been involved with are considered best film worthy. 2 actors, 2 Oscars, 1 character. 5. Pseudo-Oscars. Due to metal shortages, any Oscars awarded for a period of 3 years, during World War II, were made of painted plaster instead of gold. The winners, however, could exchange them for the official statuette after the war ended. But those are far from the oddest Oscars that have been awarded. In 1937, Edgar Bergen was awarded an honorary Oscar for Charlie McCarthy, his ventriloquist's dummy. It was made of wood, and had a movable mouth. Even odder, however, was one of the aforementioned honorary Oscars awarded to Walt Disney. The Oscar he received for Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs was a normal-looking Oscar, only it has 7 tiny Oscars at the base as well. 6. Cedric Gibbons. Cedric Gibbons worked as an art director on over 1,000 films, winning 11 Oscars out of 39 nominations. While that is impressive, Walt Disney won twice as many as Gibbons, and lost almost as many as Gibbons was nominated for, so why is he above Disney on the list? Well, while he may have only won 11, all 2,809 Oscars that have been awarded throughout the years can be accredited to him. Not only has Gibbons had his art recognized for his work on such films as The Wizard of Oz and Little Women, he is also the designer of the Oscar statuette itself. 7. 11 Oscar wins. 3 films have walked away with 11 Oscars under their belts: Ben-Hur, Titanic and Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King. Each of those has a small story behind their success as well. Lord of the Rings was the only one to take home every award for which it was nominated. Titanic draws with All About Eve for most nominations, 14, and Ben-Hur was the first ever remake of a film to win the award for Best Picture, and remained the only film to do so until The Departed won 47 years later. 8. Weird Speeches. Recent years have seen the popularity of the Oscars decline, as many people feel the ceremony goes on for too long. Because of this, a 45-second limit has been imposed on acceptance speeches. The longest speech ever given was almost 7 minutes long, by Greer Garson. She never won again, so at least she made the most of her time. In contrast, Alfred Hitchcock and William Holden simply said thank you. Gwyneth Paltrow's speech must have been 23 times as sincere, because that's how many times she thanked somebody in her speech. 9. The Oscars are trash. The Oscars are quite unpopular with many people, seen by many as just another exclusive club, filled with people congratulating themselves. But at least one person seems to think they're a lot trashier than that. In 2000, 55 Oscar statuettes were stolen near Los Angeles. A few months later, 52 of them were found in a trash can by Willie Fulgier, who was rewarded with $50,000 and tickets to the 2001 award ceremony. On a similar note, since 1950, Oscar winners have to agree that, if they decide to sell their award, they must first offer it back to the Academy for the costly sum of $1. Steven Spielberg once bought the 1938 Best Actress Oscar for $578,000 before giving it back to the Academy, because that's definitely a charity worth the money. 10. Oscar Stout. While the Oscar Stout is perhaps the most recognizable icon of the event, the phrase "and the winner is" perhaps even more famous. Originally used by the awards presenters to announce the recipient of an award, the phrase was quietly abandoned in 1989. Since then, the preferred lead-in has been "and the Oscar goes to," presumably to make the losers feel better. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to share video and subscribe us channel.
Nearly 1 in 5 people in South Africa is HIV positive, one of the biggest rates in the world.